A little background to start. I work as a topographer slash tracker for a local group in Colorado and Wyoming. My job consists of surveying areas and mapping out common game trails and popular places for herds to gather for hunting and ecological reasons. When I'm out, I'm mostly on an ATV until I find a game trail, which then I map out on foot. When I'm going long distances, I stop at outposts that have been set up along the trail to refuel and rest for the night, or go in case of hazardous weather. I've seen some things that have made me question what's out there, such as mutilated deer, bull elks torn in half, holes dug through the fresh body of animals from the inside out. While seeing things like this is unsettling, I usually shrug them off as some kind of nasty parasite or bear attack. The thing that made me wonder whether or not I was up against something much bigger didn't happen until recently near the Wyoming-Colorado border, in between outposts in the first week of December. To start, it was snowing fairly lightly, kind of spitting really. The pines stopped most of the snow falling on me when I was walking back to my ATV. While it was snowing lightly, the lay on the ground was at least a foot deep off trail, made it pretty difficult to move or be quiet while lumbering through it. I got on the ATV and drove about half a mile up the trail, almost crossing over into Wyoming, when I noticed another trail that looks freshly made. When I got off the ATV, I noticed some small droplets of blood in the snow going up the trail, from what it looked like bear prints with something dragging behind it. I grabbed my gun off the rack of the ATV and slung it over my shoulder. The trail looked fresh, but the prints and blood were starting to get covered in a layer of snowfall. While walking along the trail, I noticed something kind of weird in the middle of the bear tracks. It looked like a human foot almost, but rather elongated and thin, with only 4 toes on the end. The tracks twisted within the bear tracks themselves, almost like the animal's foot spun a bit coming out of the bear track. I continued on whilst occasionally glancing onto the track, and sure enough the prints were still there. When I got to the end in a large clearing, I stopped following the bear tracks. Something about being in this large clearing with an unknown animal made me rather uneasy. I mapped it out and placed a red line over it, indicating a high predatory area. On the way back, I noticed something strange about my own boot prints. Now, I'm a pretty big guy, standing at 6 foot 2 inches with a size 13 boot, but wherever I'd made the tracks had a footprint significantly larger than my own. But that's not the worst part. Whatever it was had followed my boot prints back, heading in the same direction I was. Whatever it was, it had snuck behind me and it was heading towards my ATV. I shouldered my rifle and put it around in the chamber. I walked back, glancing down every so often to see if the twisted footprints were indeed still in mine. When I got back to my ATV, I noticed that the prints circled my vehicle and stopped behind it and shuffled a bit. I then noticed that my jerry can was missing, and that thing had left a trail of gasoline down the road from where I came. I hopped on my quad to get going in the opposite direction, hoping to distance myself from whatever stole my fuel. After crossing into Wyoming, I noticed everything was rather still. It was still snowing, but the flakes almost seemed to be suspended in the air. Not falling, but not static either. I couldn't hear anything where my ATV was shut off. No animals, no snowfall, not even my own breathing. Almost like something had stopped all sound from existing. I found another game trail, this time a few hundred yards off the trail. I dismounted and walked towards the opening in the trees, with pristine snow covering the rocky terrain around me. All along the trail, I would catch fleeting glimpses of a shadow. Not shadows, no, just one, moving along the trail with me. I put off to lack of sleep making me see things. On my way back, I got a chill up my spine. In my own boot prints were the same tracks I saw at the last trail, the same twisty human-like print, but this time something was touching the ground in front of them. A swipe here and there, almost like whatever it was tracking me by my scent. I saw movement out of the corner of my eye. I reached for my sidearm, kicking myself for leaving the rifle in the ATV. I heard a ragged breath from my left, like if you collapsed a lung on a deer. I drew and fired into the trees, striking an aspen and blowing a hole in its small frame. I saw nothing, no movement, no snowfall, no animal. I started getting the same feeling I was getting from the clearing, and ran back to my quad. Whatever it had been following me beat me there. I followed the tracks around my ITV, like last time, stopped to see what it took next. It took my rifle. My rifle. A large rifle that would require something very large to carry it off in its mouth, or something with hands and the strength to carry it. I looked a little closer at the prints and found something I had missed every time. Inside the footprints, right where the twist ended, I noticed 4 very long appendages peeking through the twisted snow. It looked like a monkey foot, but longer and more hand-like, but not quite enough to be human. I mounted and hit the throttle, spinning out a bit until I got traction, and went shooting down the road. I was too low on fuel to go back to a main road where I could get help, and forced to go to my next outpost. When I arrived, the small cabin/hut-like structure looked so comforting and protective I almost cried. It had fuel for the quad, and a safe place for me to sleep, and a radio for help. The sun was setting, and I was firing up the stove after starting the generator when my radio crackled and came to life. I jumped when I heard the static hiss. I ran over to the radio net and requested an evac or an extra team for a safe escort. When asked why, I lied and said I was being hunted by a bear and lost my rifle on the trail. The voice on the other end scoffed but obliged. My team would be there by morning. When I hung up the radio and started getting comfy and safe, I heard a loud thump hit my door. I froze in my bed, not knowing what to do. I finally got up after debating whether or not to just hide. I'm no coward, I thought. I grabbed my sidearm and walked towards the door. I peeked out the small window to see if something was out there. All I saw was darkness. Stupidly, I opened the door and shouted, "If you don't leave, I'm going to kill you. You took one of my guns, but I still have the other." No response. I looked down my door to see what hit it, and only saw the remnants of a snowball. A fucking snowball. I waited to see if I could see any movement, and when another snowball came flying out of the darkness to my left and hit my shoulder. "You better run, or I'm going to fucking kill you," I yelled, as I slammed the door shut and ran out to confront whatever threw the snowball. I ran towards where this ball came from, and watching for prints or signs of movement. I saw something in the darkness that looked like a man had fallen, and was scrambling on the ground to get up, making that raspy breathing noise. I stopped and aimed, but saw that whatever was in front of me had continued to run on all fours at alarming speed, faster than I could run. I froze when I saw the black silhouette dart off into the darkness, not sure what to do. After listening and hearing nothing, no breathing, no running, I headed back to my hut. Once I got to the clearing my hut was in, I stopped, relieved I had made out of the woods alive. I took a deep breath and calmed myself down, and started walking towards my cabin, illuminated by the lone porch light on the deck. I looked down, trying to follow my tracks to conserve energy, and nearly vomited. The twisted footprints were in my tracks, headed towards the cabin. I saw the trail headed towards my cabin, each twisted footprint slamming down into my own until it got to my porch. Amidst all the snow dragged on by the thing, was my rifle and jerry can, placed neatly on the porch, leaning against the wall. The door was askew and jarred open a bit. I could have sworn I saw the leg of the thing dart in as soon as I looked at it. I wish I could say I bursted in there and shot the thing dead, but I was too frozen with fear to do anything but stand there. I wish I could say I was brave and fought the good fight, but I didn't. I crumbled onto the ground, cradling my knees until the sun was up. I had spent 6 hours in the darkness, waiting for whatever that thing was to come out and finish me, but it never happened. My crew found me covered in snow and my gun drawn and pointed at the cabin. They questioned me and searched the cabin. All of my food was eaten. My bed was torn up and made into a makeshift nest thing like a dog would sleep in, and the radio was destroyed, but no sign of whatever was hunting me. Sure, I'll throw mine into the ring. Had a rough childhood growing up. Parents were out of the picture by the time I was 16. Was legally emancipated so I could get my own place. Could only afford a studio in one of the worst neighborhoods in our small city. I'm not joking when I say it got to the point that I barely even noticed the gunshots anymore. Fast forward to Christmas of that year, extremely depressed, completely alone, etc. Thinking about just ending it. Go for a walk on Christmas Eve. The streets are empty. Every house I pass is lit up and cozy. Everyone had a family except me. Can literally feel myself sinking further and further into despair. Decide then and there I'm going to end it. Go out to the bridge going across the bay. It's high as fuck, so I know I won't survive the fall, or at least I'll die quickly if I do. Go over to the railing and wait for a while, just kind of thinking random things. This is the last time I'll ever smell rain, etc. Eventually decide it's time. I hoist myself up to get one foot on the railing. What happens next is so fucking weird, I can't even believe it happened. Almost. From everywhere and nowhere, this intense red light appears. It's like being lit up with a spotlight, except it's not coming from any direction, it's just everywhere. Wherever this light is, I can feel it on my skin. It feels prickly and hot like stinging nettles. More importantly, I am literally frozen to the spot. Can't move, can't blink. But wait, it gets even more fucked up. The world melts, as in everything warps, stretches and falls away. I'm now suspended in blackness in that same position, aware now that something is coming. It's very far away, but I can feel it. I was in this place for fucking eons. The only way I can describe that length of time to you is that you get so used to dying that entire lifetimes just start feeling like blinks. I had enough time to think about every fucking decision I've ever made and map out path after path and explore what that tiny thing would have done to alter my life. This entire time, this fucking thing is coming. I can sense that whatever it is, it's huge. As in, beyond comprehension huge. I have this image in my mind of a kind of wheel. Almost like one of those water wheels, but not made of separate parts, just one massive single object. I understand that this object will eventually reach me, and if I don't get out of the way, it's going to erase me from existence. I don't know how I know any of this, but I do. Spend another eternity trying to move my body atom by atom. The wheel makes a sound, by the way. It's like every single sound on Earth cranked to 1,000. Just this absolute cacophony. Weirdly enough, also during this time, I sometimes get little spots in my vision that look like fuzzy sea urchins. Start thinking of them as my guides. Focus all of my energy on them and manage finally to move a single toe. Feel this wham, like I just slammed into the ground from a really large height. Wake up in the hospital. What the fuck? Eventually, a social worker who gets assigned to me tells me what happened. I actually did jump. By some miracle, someone passed by and saw me. Doctor says I was totally relaxed when I hit, so it probably contributed to my survival. Broke damn near everything from my neck down, but lived. Interestingly, one of the things they found, that one of my lads was basically fucking shredded. Didn't seem to be a result of the fall. Seemed like a repetitive strain injury. I don't know if I went to hell or purgatory or some other fucking dimension, but I went somewhere, and it changed me. Be me, age 10, almost 11. Have a bad dream one night. Dream is of some sort of family gathering. Everything seems normal at first. Ugly creatures start to appear amongst the guests without explanation. Skinless human form with insect-like features, wet with secretions. Creatures have strange breathing as if constantly choking on mucus. Seem to fit in with the rest of the guests. No one notices. I, however, am terrified beyond belief. Frantically try to call attention to the creature. Everyone's happy, chatting, smiling. It's as if no one can hear me. I cry so fucking hard. Every so often, creatures make sickening physical contact with me. Rub all over different parts of my body with their gross mandibles and hairy appendages. Arms, legs, back. The feeling is very visceral, very lucid. Strange thing is, I know I'm in a dream, but I feel trapped inside of it, as if I wasn't allowed to wake up. Feel myself in my body, wet my bed. Can't wake up, physical body completely paralysed, as if being held down by an oppressive weight. Can't find parents in my dream. I'm screaming and crying, but no one can hear me. As if I'm the only one who can hear my own voice. Suddenly, one of the insect creatures takes a special notice of me. Looks at me with fierce animal-like anger. Thing doesn't speak, just clicking and buzzing noises, but I can somehow understand it. Says something about if I expose their existence, then this is the end of me. Threaten to rip me to shreds if I continue to protest. All of the insect creatures laugh at me as I try to compose myself, as if nothing is wrong. Continue to torment me with their bristly appendages and laugh. Dream continues. I am in mental anguish. Suddenly, out of the corner of my vision, I see a man in a clown costume. The clown man looks very, very sad. Not fearful looking. For some reason, this clown man is just very sad. I try not to garner his attention, I just try to act normal. Can somehow feel that the clown man is looking at me. I slowly turn and there he is, staring with his sad face. Somehow able to send him a telepathic message that everything will be okay. Clown man in my dream looks up slowly and gives me the biggest, warmest smile. Clown man's smile actually gives me comfort despite the horrifying insect creatures invading the gathering. As one of the insect creatures is fondling me, the clown man approaches, grabs the insect creature and tells it to leave me alone. Something about he's not yours, you can't have him. The insect creatures hiss and start to just kind of vanish. The clown man looks at me and smiles. I return the smile. Wake up at the very instant feeling a great deal of joy in my heart despite the horrific scene that played out. Realised I'm covered in sweat and pee. Quietly get up. Still early in the morning, the sun's not up yet. Go shower and change my clothes. Parents wake up. Decide to tell my parents about my dream. Parents console me and give me praise for being honest about wetting the bed. Time goes on. Unfortunately, have this exact dream at least 3 more times. Same exact setup. Same creatures. Same sleep paralysis. The same clown man comes to save me. Wake up relieved. Parents starting to worry. They think I'm being molested by someone. Not sure who though. I don't remember ever being molested. Start going to see a counsellor. Explain to them my dreams. Feel very uncomfortable. Feel like I'm being treated like a retard or something. People being overly protective of me now, assuming I'm a victim of sexual abuse. Feel ashamed and embarrassed. Start to not want to go anywhere. One night, the dream plays out the same as usual, but once the clown man helps me, he says something this time. Cryptic message. He says I have a gift. He says the only reason the insect creatures want me is because I frightened them. Says I can't wait to meet you. See you soon, Anon. Wake up feeling optimistic. Start to feel better about myself from then. I'm more confident. Parents decide to end counselling for the time being. Fast forward later that year. It's time for my 11th birthday party. The birthday party planned as a family gathering. Friends and family arrive. After a while of festivities, start to have a dreadful feeling of deja vu. Realise that the setting is playing out exactly it had in my dreams. Suddenly overwhelmed with terror that insect creatures might show up in real life. At that very moment, I see a figure that is out of place amongst the crowd. It's the clown man from my dreams. Or at least, a man my parents hired to be my birthday clown. I make brief eye contact with him. He returns the same big warm smile from my dream. Only this time, it's very creepy. Because how? Sit petrified in fear and confusion as he approaches. He never says a word, just smiles down at me. I do my best to keep my composure, but I am genuinely questioning reality at this moment. The party goes on. I start to loosen up, but still can't quite recover from seeing the clown man from my dreams in real life. The party winds down and the guests begin to leave. My parents ask me if I enjoyed the party. As I'm starting to formulate my answer, they turn around and introduce the clown man. Turns out he's a children's pastor from a church in a completely different state. Also a pediatric psychologist. He's also completely deaf and mute, and has a teletype pager that people type into to communicate with him. Heard my dream story from one of his colleagues at a press conference and decided to come cheer me up. He smiles at me and waves goodbye. I never see him again after that day. The bad dreams stop happening, and I mellow out as I enter my teens. Fast forward several years later. I have another weird dream. The house is empty and I am alone. Go outside, no one is around. It's as if I am alone on Earth by myself, with no one else. Very ominous feeling of loneliness. Suddenly receive a telepathic message. Behind you. It's the clown man, and he looks very, very sad. I have to go anon, but remember your gift. Turns around and walks down the road. Wake up with a heavy heart, but don't read more into it because horny teenager. Hanging out at friend's house later that day. Get a message from my parents. The clown man for my 11th birthday party has died due to a chronic illness. Parents had never talked about him since my party until that day. Be me, US Marine, stationed in Okinawa, Japan. For those of you who don't know, Okinawa is an island south of Japan, literally covered in US military bases. Be stationed on the smallest MC base on the island, sleepy little base called Camp Courtney, in the jungle.pdf. Get put on a temporary base security detail, get a job as corporal of the guard. Basically just sit in a little guard shack with an office and a TV watching a radio. And if anything goes wrong, you go take care of it. Quiet Thursday night on duty. Pissing rain, sucking wind, thunder, lightning, etc. Get a call from a sentry on post about a young girl walking into the jungle by the gate. What the fuck.exe? Immediately assume it's something weird. Get my Beretta, pepper spray, flashlight, radio, etc. It's raining even harder. Walk to area where this girl was spotted. I should explain that Okinawa was where the final and one of the most bloodiest battles of World War II took place, and hundreds, if not thousands of civilians were killed, so I already assumed it was a ghost or some shit. Get to the gate. Fucking soaked. Talk to the sentry about what he saw. I don't know, man, there was a short local girl in white. She looked like a nurse. She went down that trail along the gate. Already know where the trail led to, these tombs. For those who aren't familiar, in Japan there are these big tombs everywhere, and it's extremely disrespectful to trespass. People say you'll be cursed and haunted if you do. There are some tombs on base that are off limits to all except family. There are signs that says off limit by order of the commanding general and everything. Well, that's no good. Walk up to path, shine flashlight into brush. Nothing. Cry out, ask if anyone's there. No one. Tired, wet, and a little spooked, so I should say fuck it and go back because it's probably a fucking ghost anyway, Lamau. Tell the guy it was probably a cat or something. There are wild cats all over Okinawa. Yeah, fucking right, .lol. 2 hours later, sentry relieved, different guy at the gate. Sentry radios, tells me he saw someone walking into the brush. God damn it. It's like 2 AM, it's windier than before, and it's still fucking pouring. The guy had no idea about what happened earlier. Go check it out again. Ask the sentry if it looked like a nurse. Yeah. Okay, at this point I'm a little more curious, so I tell myself I'll actually go in this time. Get up there, cry out, still no one. Step over some bushes and go into the jungle. Immediate regret, but decide to keep going. It's so fucking dark, and the flashlight just makes it creepier. Remember that there are a lot of snakes this time of year, lol. Also big ass banana spiders. So I'm pretty scared. Tell myself I'll keep going until I see the sign. They're big red and yellow signs, you can't miss them. It's a lot darker in the woods, but also seemed a lot quieter. I think the rain must have died down a little. The trail is going back a lot further than I remember. Sign should have been back there, but I can't even see out of the jungle at this point. I'm so fucking far back I can barely tell if I'm on the trail or not. I'm so fucking lost. Really start freaking out. Tactical pause, take a deep breath and tell myself to stay calm. I could be getting shot at. These things could be worse after. Hear a soft moaning cry. It sends chills down my spine, stricken with fear. Ask if anyone is there. It gets louder. Keeps getting louder, and it seems like it's getting closer. Feel presence walk immediately behind me. Say fuck this, walk away from crying and whatever was behind me, which is further into the jungle, in before you're retarded. Feels like I'm walking on a hard surface instead of mud, and standing water. Turn on flashlight. It's cobblestone. You're fucking with me. Look around a little more. I'm within 20 feet of a giant tomb. Please, whoever is buried here, forgive me, I'm lost. Crying is still the same distance from me as it was before, like it's following me. Stand there because I don't know what to do. Frozen with fear, and the crying is getting closer. All of a sudden... COG, this is Echo 3 Alpha, radio check over. Jump 33 into the air and scream a little, as well as shit myself. Radio went off loud as fuck. Roger Lima Charlie, out. Put radio away. As I'm putting it down, I noticed the crying stopped. Look back up. The nurse girl was standing there at the foot of the tomb, looking at me. Sends a million chills down my spine, more scared than ever. She's a short Japanese girl, must be early to mid-teens, pale as snow. Instantly turn around and get out there. Keep running until I finally get out of the jungle. Completely different area than where I came in. Make it back to the shack, soaking wet, super shaken up. Next day I tell everyone. Guy who's been on the island forever says he's seen this nurse before, same with some of his buddies. Ever since then, my lights in my room will turn off by themselves. I hear random knocks on my windows, yet no one is there. Things will get knocked over, etc. I still live here, and it's still haunted as fuck. One day my lights turned off, and my roommate and I both saw a black figure. My first reaction was to take a picture. Pic related. Feel nauseous and get goosebumps every time I look at it. No, it's not fake. I'm gonna dump one of my stories for y'all. I'll live up to you to believe it or not, but for me this is the biggest nope moment I've had. Some background first. This happened in Boden, Sweden, a couple years back. Boden is known for one thing and one thing only: military forts. It was long thought of as the key to northern Sweden. The first thing the Soviets would ruffle stomp if they ever came charging. Those thoughts were secret as fuck in the past, and for some time one of the forts were used to store a large part of Sweden's gold reserve. However, after the Gold War ended, the forts became even more obsolete than before and were decommissioned. Anyway, the story. B21. Hang out with female friend that is more like a sister I never had. We are both scouts and have been for as long as we both can remember. Bored as fuck. Decide to go recon a cool campsite for the upcoming Halloween scare hike. My friend, let's call her H, knows a lot of cool forts and trench systems. Drive off with my car, which was perfectly fine and had gone through inspection without a hitch only a week before. Decide to check out the nearest old fort. Park the car a couple of 100 meters from the old fort because someone had placed big ass stones as a crude roadblock on the dirt road leading to the fort. Climb/walk up to the fort from the right side that's somewhat accessible. Any thoughts of recon for a campsite has been soon be replaced by thoughts of exploration. It's about midday, but daylight is waning fast due to northern Sweden. Luckily we brought flashlights. Eventually locate a hole in the fence big enough for us to get through. Explore a bit, though all doors are locked with either massive padlocks or internal locks. Start to head back the way we came in. A thick door that we both were sure had just been closed before is now slightly ajar. Not by much, just a couple of centimeters. We haven't heard any door opening or anyone else being here. The door is about 1.5 meters wide, 1.5 meters tall, and made entirely out of 1 decimeter of solid steel, and on rusty hinges it looks like. Remember that H told me that the local wildlife seemed to shun this place? Okay, getting a real bad feeling about this just now. We both keep our distance, but our curiosity gets the better of us. We both try to peek inside. Pitch fucking dark inside. Except I sense something move inside. Don't really know how I know this, but I just get a very weird feeling, like something is staring at us from inside. We both aim our flashlight and thumb them on. Flashlights both give a short burst of light and then go dead as doorknobs, and we put in new batteries before we went out. In the short picosecond we had light, I managed to get a glimpse of something. A grey blackish humanoid shade that looks more like a beast than a man. At the same time, something in my mind pushes the primal predator panic button. Nope, 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 nope. I'm not sure what H saw, but she's white as a fucking sheet and as damn near panic as I've ever seen her. We both scramble out without saying a word to each other. We both must have broken the record on 200-meter panic sprint. I don't know about H, but I felt it was something. I can't describe it more than a terrible sense of hate following us. Get in the car. I turn the key. Nothing. Trying to turn it on again. The car won't start. The headlight won't even turn on. Eventually, after turning the key frantically again and again for the longest 2 minutes of my life, the car starts. We get the hell out Dodge with gravel flying everywhere as I floor until we get back on the main road. Later learned through other friends that there had been other similar occurrences there. Some hear a faint but very much mocking laughter coming from beyond that door, and others feeling watched when they're near the fort. The door have never been ajar before or after, and has always been locked when anyone's tried to open it. Damn, I still get shivers just thinking of it. It's been 5 years since that happened.